While April's wind and rain kept me ashore, I did take the time to service my Yamaha 25 horsepower 4-stroke outboard, the trailer and Quicksilver aluminium hull rib, just in time for a lovely spring day for its first launch of the year. I decided to go somewhere special for the first outing. Joined by a friend, Craig, we headed out of Locative and into the Firth of Lorne. We turned into Oban Bay, then headed down the Sound of Kerala, across the Seal and then down the Sound of Lyng. Going round Scarba by the Corryvreckan Whirlpool and back by the Grey Dogs, we then backtracked a little to land for lunch on one of the Black Islands, before heading for home the way we had come, a distance of around 75 miles round trip, and I used slightly less than 25 litres of fuel. I'd forgotten just how easy it is to launch and recover this lightweight boat. Simply remove the trailer number plate, untie the restraining straps holding the boat to the trailer, ensure the transom bung is in place, reverse the car until the trailer axle is just above the water level, get out the car and push the boat, and in she goes. It's that simple. The rollers take the effort out of it, as I recall hauling and heaving the last boat, which was in trailer bunks. For me, it's the biggest advantage of having a solid hull against an inflatable boat hull. Kelly's Pier is not the easiest of places to launch and recover either, at anything but high tide, due to the very shallow water. The Quicksilver only needs a few inches to float in, making it a breeze to launch and recover at most states of the tide. As you can see from my drone's eye view of the area, spring had finally arrived. I'd even heard my first cuckoo of the year the day before, announcing its arrival. The promised land looks lovely and peaceful in the quiet early morning sunshine. It was 8:30 a.m. on a Saturday morning, mid-April, and I was awaiting the arrival of Craig, who was joining me on this outing. He's not as lucky as me, as he'd a 2-hour drive to get here, but on a day like this it's very much worth the drive. He duly arrived dead in time and was using his Hornwave T38IE Airfloor inflatable, powered by his 15 horsepower 2-stroke outboard. A very efficient outfit when lightly loaded. A quick press on my starter button and the 25 horsepower burst into life. A quick check showed its cooling system working well. And not long later we were off. We skimmed across the silk-smooth surface of Locative at a cruising speed of around 16 miles per hour, and it felt great having a bit of power to the boat after a winter of mostly displacement speeds in my small F-rib. It didn't take long to reach the Connell Bridge on our way to the Firth of Lorne and the open sea. Yippee! And we were both delighted to see the open sea was as silky smooth as the loch had been. Soon we were turning into Oban Bay, passing the Hutchison Monument at Carrera on the way. Going down the Sound of Kerala, I suddenly realised it was morning coffee and wee time. The drone was dying for some exercise too, so I let it loose for a while. And when the drone came back, we clambered back into our boats and continued down the Sound of Kerala, heading for Easdale. The Mull coastline and Inch Island seemed to float in the air to an optical illusion caused by flat calm water on the horizon. Not long later, we turned into the Sound of Easdale, watching the ferry make its first run of the day from Seal to Easdale Island. We didn't stop, as I was very conscious of the time, knowing it would be slack water in the Corryvreckan as we passed Flada Lighthouse. I didn't want to be too late going through the world's third largest whirlpool while it was well into its flooding tide. Approaching the Island of Scarba, I glanced across at the grey docks, the narrow northern channel of Scarba, and I could see the flooding tide had already started kicking up the standing waves caused by fast-flowing water. I suspected we would have a bumpy ride going through the Corryvreckan. Notice how flat calm the sea is outside the Corryvreckan Gap. On a calm day like this, all turbulence in the gap is caused by tidal flow and not wind-blown waves. It's not a place for inexperienced small boaters. In the far distance I could see white water where the main whirlpool often forms. I headed into a back eddy that runs close to the southern shore of Scarba. Here the water was flowing in the opposite direction of the main flow, and the surface was smooth, broken only by fast swirls and hydraulic boils. I certainly didn't want to be swept out into the turbulent waters of the whirlpool area, even though it was still relatively benign, due to neap tides and it had only been an hour into the flood tide. Once past the whirlpool area, the area beyond, known as the Great Race, was now kicking up nicely. It stretches right across the exit of the Corryvreckan and extends several miles out to sea. Not a place for Craig or myself to go and see. By staying in the back eddy close to shore, We avoided the rough water and were soon back in calmer conditions, going around the rugged west coast of Scarba. Our whitewater ride was not over yet, because to go right round the island of Scarba also involves going through the grey dogs. Once again I could see the standing waves showing white tops and narrow gap. I avoided the worst of the waves by keeping close to the shore on the right-hand side, with a quick burst of acceleration through the main flow to prevent the boat ending up in the white tops, and I'm safely through. Craig clung to my transom and he was safely through too. However, we then decided to backtrack and go through it all again to reach Island, one of the Black Islands, where we landed for lunch. We didn't go far before landing again, this time on my favourite island in the area, Belnahua. It is one of the slate islands, and I have told its stories a few times in my videos, but to quickly recap, 100 years or so ago, slate quarrying was big business in the area. Around 200 people lived and worked here, but life was hard. There was no source for fresh water on the island, and all supplies had to be shipped across fierce tide races even during difficult winter weather. At the start of World War I, the men were drafted into the army and the women and children left, never to return. The island is a living museum to the slate industry. Old machinery rusts away. Ruins like the cottages, schoolhouse, and storerooms are only crumbling walls. Seagulls and seals are all that live here now. I wanted to take the opportunity to let the drone have a look around, as soon the birds will get territorial as it's nesting season, making it impossible to fly. Having refreshed my own memories of this special island, we left the seagulls in peace and headed on our way back to Tainault. We enjoyed a totally uneventful journey back on such a lovely mid-April day. Hopefully it was the first of many adventures to see this year, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.